Hello, everyone, and thanks for being with us today. Donald Trump, the imperialist? The incoming president's continued attacks on sovereign and independent nations has gone from confusing to deeply worrying. We've got the latest on that and other stories from around the globe, but first, here's a look at the latest headlines. The United States carries out an airstrike in southern Somalia, killing 10 members of the al-Qaeda-linked al-Shabaab group. Washington says it also provided support to Somali forces by evacuating soldiers while fighting the terrorist group in the region. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman denies allegations of sexual abuse made by his sister Annie Altman in a recent lawsuit. Altman's sister claims the sexual abuse started when she was just 3 years old and Altman was 12. Authorities declare a state of emergency after a wildfire scorches nearly 3,000 acres of land in the suburbs of Los Angeles, California. Raging flames also threaten over 10,000 homes and put more than 30,000 people under evacuation orders. Hundreds rally outside the home of South Korea's impeached President Yoon Suk Yeol in a bid to protect him from a new arrest warrant. Yoon has resisted questioning and arrest since imposing a brief martial law last month and plunging the country into its worst political crisis in decades. And 3 people die after a seaplane crashes near Western Australia's famous tourist spot, Rottnest Island. The private plane carrying 7 passengers is believed to have hit a rock emerging from the ocean during takeoff. We begin in the United States, where incoming President Donald Trump has refused to rule out the use of military or economic force to seize control of Greenland and the Panama Canal. Speaking at an hour-long news conference, he reiterated America's sacrifice in building the canal more than a century ago and falsely accused China of operating it today.
Look, the Panama Canal is vital to our country. It's being operated by China. China. And we gave the Panama Canal to Panama. We didn't give it to China. And they've abused it. They've abused that gift. It should have never been made, by the way.
As Donald Trump rambled his way through the presser, he again defended his claim that acquiring Greenland is necessary for America's national security. The Republican also floated the claim that Denmark might not have legal rights in Greenland, even though there's an overall global recognition of Denmark's sovereignty over the island.
We need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran. I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time. You have approximately 45,000 people there. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do, they should give it up because we need it for national security.
Trump's remarks came as his eldest son landed in Greenland's capital on a personal trip Tuesday. Visiting the autonomous Danish territory, Trump Jr. also had a phone call with his father, who fueled concerns about Russian and Chinese ships sailing around the island.
What happened to my son, and he's a real hunter, fisherman, and all the things that you love. And I thought it'd be great to go up there with his 2 very talented friends and the other group, a lot of other people. So I just want to say that it's a very special place. It needs security for itself, but it also needs security very much for the world. The location really, you see the people and the ships sailing around, and they're not the right ships, and they're not the ships you want to know about. So we need security, and our country needs it, and the whole world needs it.
Meanwhile, Panama, Denmark, and Greenland have firmly rejected any idea of giving up territory. Panama's foreign minister reaffirmed his nation's control over the canal, saying its sovereignty is non-negotiable.
Our canal sovereignty is not negotiable and is part of our history of struggle and an irreversible conquest. Our canal has the mission to serve humanity and its trade. That is one of the values that Panamanians offer to the world, giving guarantee to the international community not to take part, nor be an active part of any conflict. The only hands that control the canal are Panamanian, and it will continue to be so. We are a country open to dialogue today and always, to investments and good relations, but with the clear slogan that the homeland is first.
And Denmark's prime minister said Greenland belongs to its citizens and the world's largest island is not for sale.
Of course, I want to say some words to the discussion taking place about Greenland right now. I want to make it very clear that seen with the eyes of the Danish government, Greenland is for the Greenlandic people. It is a very proud people, a language and culture. It is a people that is their own. And as the chairman of the government of Greenland, Mudi G, has stated before, Greenland is not for sale.
However, the Danish prime minister added that the United States is a strong ally of both Denmark and Greenland, and its investment in the territories are certainly welcome. Now, Donald Trump did not limit himself to the Panama Canal in Greenland, as he also suggested renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Trump's latest remarks are a stark reminder of his foreign policy that comes with the mind of a real estate developer wanting to expand American territory with zero concern about international law. And staying with Donald Trump, the convicted felon has shared a new map of the United States which shows Canada as part of the U.S. territory. Posting the distorted map on social media, Donald Trump captioned it, "Oh Canada," escalating his ongoing rhetoric of taking over its sovereign neighbor. The latest antic came after the incoming president threatened to use economic force to absorb Canada into the United States.
Economic force, because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like, and it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada.
Donald Trump once again criticized American spending on Canadian products and military support. He also once again mocked Justin Trudeau as the governor of Canada.
We don't need anything they have. We don't need their dairy products. We have more than they have. We don't need anything. So why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada? And I said that to, as I called him, Governor Trudeau. I said, listen, what would happen if we didn't subsidize you, if we didn't, because we give them a lot of money. But why are we supporting a country, $200 billion plus a year? Our military is at their disposal. All of these other things, they should be a state. That's why I told Trudeau when he came down, I said, what would happen if we didn't do it?
After weeks of online mocking and humiliation, Justin Trudeau finally hit back at the twice impeached, soon-to-be incoming president's imperialistic diatribe. The Canadian Prime Minister, who had earlier taken Donald Trump's comments as a joke, said, and I quote, "There isn't a snowball's chance in hell that Canada would become part of the United States. Workers and communities in both our countries benefit from being each other's biggest trading and security partner," end quote. The unexpected reaction came a day after Trudeau announced his resignation, saying he would step down once his party chooses a new leader. And with no more races to run and the political shackles removed, Trudeau is now going on the offensive against the former reality television star's bizarre and bullying tactics. Meanwhile, the Canadian leader's ruling Liberal Party shared a map clearly depicting the area that's not part of the United States. Notably, along with needling Canada about it becoming the 51st state of the United States, the president-elect has also threatened to impose a 25% tariff on all Canadian goods. The apparent threat is to stop the inflow of illegal migrants and drugs into the United States. As vague as they may be, Donald Trump has a history of using tariffs to stifle rival nations. And with Ottawa being heavily dependent on trade with Washington, only time will tell how Canada's next leader pushes back on Donald Trump's threats. And staying in the United States, investigators from the Las Vegas Police Department have found rather concerning details about the Tesla cybertruck explosion that occurred on January 1st. The blast outside the Trump Hotel was triggered by a highly decorated Green Beret soldier who was also the only person to have died in the incident. Police officials have found that Matthews Livelsberger shot himself before the explosion and did not intend on killing anyone else. However, the investigation has revealed that Livelsberger extensively used artificial intelligence, including ChatGPT, to gain information about explosives and firearms.
But he basically starts using ChatGPT, which is a generative AI, to be able to get information on how to conduct this particular plot. So ultimately, you'll see that he looks at trying to figure out the amount of explosives needed in order to conduct the explosion he was looking to cause. He also talks about, in the next set of questions, you'll see he's trying to figure out where to buy fireworks and how much of it to buy. He looks at the equivalence of those fireworks and how they compare to TNT and other types of explosive material. On this next set of questions, there's a focus on the velocity of the bullet fired from the firearm and determining whether that would ignite the explosives. This is an important component.
Now, authorities have not disclosed the answers ChatGPT gave to Livelsberger's questions and notified the FBI and the Pentagon about their latest findings. Police officials are now worried that Livelsberger's case could encourage dangerous elements to use ChatGPT to carry out attacks within the United States.
We knew that AI was going to change the game at some point or another in really all of our lives. And certainly, I think this is the first incidents that I'm aware of on U.S. soil where ChatGPT is utilized to help an individual build a particular device, to learn information all across the country as they're moving forward. And so, absolutely, it's a concerning moment for us.
Meanwhile, the tech firm OpenAI, the developers of ChatGPT, issued a statement urging users to be more responsible when engaging their AI tools. Authorities are now also investigating Tesla and its cybertruck, which also uses AI technology, particularly when the car is in self-driving mode. Police officials say that AI technology in cars could be programmed and used to target civilians or even sensitive military sites in the future.
There was some conversation about whether the vehicle was in self-driving mode. We've already addressed that in terms of the technical data that we collected, but also you can see that his hands are on the steering wheel as he's pulling up. He also does write in there that he was super high on weed and drinking, which we are still working to confirm. And then he discusses the cybertruck being used as a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device. He also says that he has graphic encounters from his military experience that replay in his head over and over.
Authorities also uncovered a 6-page manifesto from Livelsberger's phone that is currently being reviewed by the Pentagon as it contains classified material pertaining to the military. However, federal agencies are also raising the alarm about the possible misuse of artificial intelligence and how ChatGPT and other chatbots could pose a serious threat to national security. And now moving to Venezuela, the country remains on edge with Nicolas Maduro about to be sworn in for a third term. On Tuesday, the son-in-law of exiled opposition leader Edmundo Gonzalez was kidnapped in Caracas. His shocking abduction also comes amid heightened military presence and accusations of foreign mercenaries plotting attacks on Maduro. The defiant president, who is currently facing international condemnation over his contested re-election, claims to have arrested several operatives, including 2 Americans. Meanwhile, Gonzalez, recognized by the United States as Venezuela's president-elect, vows to return and challenge Maduro's rule. Here's more from Caracas.
Chaos gripped Venezuela as hooded men kidnapped Rafael Tudares, the son-in-law of opposition leader Edmundo Gonzalez. Tudares was ambushed on Tuesday morning in Caracas. He'd been walking his children to school when black-clad assailants intercepted him. They forced him into a gold van, leaving his terrified children behind. "My son-in-law has not appeared. This is a forced disappearance," Gonzalez posted on X. His daughter, Mariana Gonzalez, confirmed the children were unharmed, but described her husband as a victim of political persecution. "When did it become a crime to be family?" she asked. The kidnapping follows Gonzalez's meeting with U.S. President Joe Biden on Monday. Biden recognizes Gonzalez as Venezuela's president-elect, in stark opposition to Nicolas Maduro's claim to victory in the July election. And despite widespread international criticism, he's all set to take the presidential oath on Friday. Now, while Gonzalez rallies international support, Venezuela has seen a crackdown on alleged mercenaries. Maduro announced on Tuesday that 7 foreigners, including 2 Americans, were arrested. He labeled them high-level operatives and accused them of plotting terrorism. The detainees allegedly include Colombians and fighters from the Ukraine war.
Just today, we've captured 7 foreign mercenaries, including 2 important mercenaries from the United States. They are captured, caught with the kilos of the highest level like never before captured in Venezuela. They are convicted, and I am sure that in the coming hours they will confess. They came to carry out terrorist actions against the peace of Venezuela.
On the other hand, Gonzalez's election victory remains clouded in controversy. Reiterating his stance, defiant Maduro appreciated the independent Venezuelans in comparison to the slaves in America, and added ones with surnames like Gonzalez don't have a place in his country.
The surnames in their desperation go north, believing they can gain the strength they don't have here, and thinking that the people of Venezuela will back down because they take photos in the north. They are slaves of the American empire, while here the people of Venezuela are determined to be free, independent, sovereign, and to defend their right to peace and their right to the future. Do not be mistaken with Venezuela.
Venezuela's government-controlled electoral body declared Maduro the winner but withheld detailed results. In contrast, the opposition published receipts from voting machines showing Gonzalez's landslide victory. Now, despite the dangers, Gonzalez continues his global campaign to rally support. He met with Biden and Republican House Representative Michael Waltz, among others, and his next stop is Panama. But back home, Caracas is tense. With increased military presence ahead of Maduro's inauguration, the streets bristle with fear, uncertainty, and anger. Opposition leader Maria Corina Machado had called for protests on Friday, but with security heightened, it remains uncertain if Venezuelans will take to the streets.
In all the homes of military and police families in Venezuela, there are their children, their partners, their parents, their brothers and sisters inviting them to be part of this, and each one making a decision. They decide whether to be a tyrant who represses or a hero who defends their people. That is the decision. What we are telling them is, here we are. Everyone who joins this cause is saved from the future that awaits this tyranny through justice.
As Gonzalez presses forward, the question looms. Can he return to Venezuela and fulfill his promise to reclaim democracy? Or will Maduro tighten his grip, silencing dissent once and for all? The clock is ticking, and Friday may change everything.
And finally, from the Middle East, the United Arab Emirates has emerged as a potential leader in reconstruction efforts of post-war Gaza. Having already given billions of dollars in aid to war-torn Ukraine and Yemen, the UAE has emerged as a nation committed to global peace and development. With an approach to rebuilding the lives of Palestinians, the Emirati nation is now awaiting the green light from the United States, Israel, and regional allies to rebuild the Gaza Strip. Our final report has more details.
The United Arab Emirates has once again reaffirmed its position as a global leader in humanitarian aid, development, and peace building. With its unwavering commitment to rebuild lives and foster stability, the UAE is shaping a brighter future for millions across the globe. Now, in the wake of the ongoing conflict in Gaza, the UAE has stepped forward as a potential cornerstone in post-war recovery efforts. However, its involvement hinges on principled preconditions designed to ensure meaningful and lasting peace. According to a UAE official who spoke to CNN, the Middle Eastern nation insists on an invitation from a credible, reformed Palestinian Authority, Israel's explicit commitment to a two-state solution, and strong leadership from the United States for the Emirates to fully redevelop Gaza.
While there have been many informal conversations taking place, parties involved have not aligned with the UAE preconditions for its involvement in any post-war effort in Gaza.
The UAE's approach reflects its deep-rooted belief in sustainable solutions over temporary fixes. Rejecting suggestions of private military contractors as peacekeepers in Gaza, the UAE has focused on fostering dialogue and creating pathways for real reform. High-level discussions such as those between UAE Foreign Minister Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed and Israeli counterpart Gideon Saar demonstrate its dedication to address Gaza's humanitarian crisis. But Gaza is only part of the UAE's broader story of global goodwill. The country stands among the world's most generous donors relative to its national income. Since the start of 2021, the biggest recipient of aid from the UAE is war-torn Yemen, having received over $435 million. However, the UAE's generosity extends far beyond the Middle East. In response to the Ukraine crisis, it pledged $100 million to support Ukrainian civilians. In South Asia, following devastating floods in Pakistan, the UAE organized an air bridge to transport emergency aid worth $13.6 million, alongside aid ships carrying food and medical supplies for 500,000 affected families. In Afghanistan, the UAE dispatched planes loaded with hospital supplies, operating rooms and cutting-edge medical equipment to support earthquake victims. This legacy of giving is matched by the UAE's forward-thinking investments. Emirati billionaire Hussein Sajwani's recent announcement of a $20 billion investment in the US data center industry exemplifies the UAE's commitment to global economic growth. The initiative aligns seamlessly with US President-elect Donald Trump's focus on bolstering domestic industries, strengthening the UAE's role as a strategic economic partner.
And we're honored to welcome one of the most respected business leaders in the Middle East, indeed the world. He's a founder and chairman of Damac Properties, Hussein Sajwani, a very respected gentleman. And I'm thrilled to announce today that Damac will be investing at least $20 billion over a very short period of time into the United States, and they may go double or even somewhat more than double that amount of money. It's a great thing.
Since its founding in 1971, the UAE has donated a generous $98 billion in aid worldwide. From rebuilding war-torn regions to spearheading climate resilience and economic innovation, the UAE has proven that compassion and progress can go hand in hand. As the Emirati nation continues to drive humanitarian efforts and inspire international cooperation, the UAE reminds the world of the boundless potential of unity, vision and generosity, and how it intends to bring those in the post-war reconstruction of Gaza.
That's our show for today. We certainly thank all of you for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you right back here again tomorrow. Thanks again for watching. Donald Trump's return to the Oval Office is imminent. He will soon take the oath of office and once again lead the nation.
God spared my life for a reason.
President-elect Donald Trump's first priority: tackling illegal immigration and securing the nation's borders.
We're going to fix our borders.
The incoming administration has prioritized the Russia-Ukraine war. Can they succeed in ending one of the world's most challenging conflicts?
I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled.
And as he returns to the White House, will Donald Trump resume a bruising trade war with the world's second largest economy, China?
If China or some other country is behaving badly, we have things called tariffs.
All of this and more right here on Firstpost America. Donald Trump's return